So what we found in these case studies, or through these case studies, is that basically ABS can contribute to a number of sustainable development goals. I will focus on the main ones here and highlight others which it can contribute to. So of course, SDG 1, which is about ending poverty. So some of the cases that we focused on involved relationships between companies. So I can mention, for instance, Natura, which is a cosmetics company, which has developed partnerships with communities in the Amazon. And in this case study, for instance, we saw how benefit sharing has been able to contribute to the livelihoods of communities in Brazil. ABS can also contribute to SDG 8 through contributing to sustainable economic growth. So how is this done? Essentially through non-monetary benefits, which are reflected in ABS agreements, through training, capacity building, for instance, the creation of jobs for scientists in biodiversity research, or the development of green business projects as elements of ABS agreements. These are, again, types of benefit sharing mechanisms that we have seen that can contribute to SDG 8. With respect to SDG 9, I think it's interesting to highlight here that ABS partnerships can contribute to the building of national research capacities. And I mentioned earlier this case study that was based on ABS collaborations in the state of Sarawak in Malaysia, where a strategy was developed to promote the valorization of genetic resources. And there, the Sarawak Biodiversity Center has developed its research capacities along with collaboration with indigenous peoples and local communities in Sarawak to develop the sustainable use of resources, biodiversity from the state of Sarawak. So ABS here has contributed to the development, for instance, of national research capacities. And now moving on to the next slide. Of course, the link between ABS and SDG 15, which may be the most obvious, and this is something that Rachel has already developed on, and where there can be further work carried out. You know, how ABS can contribute to preserving and restoring biodiversity through capacity building, training, on sustainable use, and for instance, the sustainable management of forests. And this is something that was illustrated also in a number of the cases covered by this project. And of course, an obvious link between ABS and the SDGs is with SDG 17, which relates to partnerships, global partnerships, so North-South partnerships and South-South cooperation. And of course, as you know, ABS arrangements often involve actors from different countries along the chain of ABS, from the initial provider to intermediaries to users in other countries. So these contribute to SDG 17. And I would also like to mention a few other SDGs which are not on the slide, but to which ABS can contribute. And so, for instance, SDG 5, which is about gender equality, and we've seen that ABS can contribute to the empowerment of women in communities, to SDG 12, also related to, of course, as you know, sustainable management and consumption patterns through the sustainable management and efficient use of resources through capacity building. It can also contribute to reduced inequalities, SDG 10, to SDG 4 on the quality of education. So this is simply to highlight a number of the SDGs to which ABS can contribute. But I think the key message to retain from this is that the contribution to SDGs from ABS really depends on what types of benefit sharing arrangements are developed, and what types of benefits these cover.